Hi Cheesy, how's your energy? Let's talk.
My energy is just in the mood to share this story. So you know what? Let's talk it out. In the heart of West Africa, a silent tragedy is unfolding. Villages are burning, families are fleeing, and thousands are dying. This is the story of Burkina Faso, a country caught between terrorists, soldiers, and silence. Anyways, this is Cheesy's Energy Uncovered. I studied sociology and I have decided to uncover stories. Now, if you have gotten to this point in the video, you are definitely family. Please hit the like button, kindly subscribe, and don't forget to leave your comments down the comment section. Now, let's get right into the story. Burkina Faso, also known as Upper Volta, gained their independence from France in 1960. For decades, it was one of the most stable countries in the region. No civil wars, no armed insurgents, just a landlocked nation trying to survive on cotton, gold, and agriculture. In 1983, Captain Thomas Sankara led a bold revolution. He was young, charismatic, and Pan-African. He changed the country's name to Burkina Faso, meaning land of upright people. But in 1987, he was assassinated, and many said that's when the real darkness began. Fast forward to 2012, the crisis in northern Mali exploded. Tuareg rebels and jihadist groups took over and took control of vast areas. As French and UN troops pushed them out, many militants slipped across borders into Niger and Burkina Faso's poorly defended north. Then by 2015, Burkina Faso was under attack. At first, it was, occasionally ambushes, then bombings, then the whole town came under siege. Militants linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS began enforcing their own version of Sharia law, killing those who resisted and recruiting from those too poor to say no. In 2014, after 27 years in power, President Blaise Compaoré was ousted in a popular uprising. His fall left a vacuum. The army, already divided and weak, they struggled to respond to the growing jihadist threats. In September 2022, a young army, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, staged a coup, promising security and reforms. The people were hopeful, very hopeful, but soon, hope turned to fear.
It was not long ago that Ibrahim Traoré, a relatively low-ranking officer in Burkina Faso's military, was running an artillery regiment in a small northern town. Now, cheering crowds greet the self-declared leader after he and a group of soldiers overthrew President Paul-Henri Damiba. It was the West African country's second coup this year. But in an interview with Radio France International, Traoré insisted he will not be in charge for long. A national conference will appoint a new interim leader by the end of the year, he said, and an agreement with West Africa's regional bloc for a return to civilian rule by 2024 would be honoured. Still, an early picture of what Traoré's junta intends to do with its time in power has emerged. Burkina Faso's battle against groups linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State is likely to be a focus. Traoré is a career soldier who's fought on the front line against the militants. The insurgency has killed thousands, and it was anger over the escalating violence that fueled a coup in January, bringing Damiba to power. However, army officers who supported him quickly lost patience. Burkina Faso's new military leaders say Damiba refused to reform the army. Attacks worsened, including one just days before the coup, in which 11 soldiers were killed. As well as army reform, another option for Traoré is ties with new international partners, such as Russia. Russian flags have been waved in the street, and Russia has expressed support for the coup, just as Western powers were condemning it. The founder of Russian private military company Wagner Group has congratulated Traoré. Wagner operates in several African countries, including Burkina Faso's neighbour Mali, where it has been accused by human rights groups and locals of participating in the massacre of civilians. It has not responded to the accusations. Wagner's arrival in Mali last year spelled the end of France's decade-long mission against militants in the country. Ties between Burkina Faso and Russia could further strain relations with the former colonial power. In the aftermath of the coup, the French embassy in Ouagadougou was attacked by Traoré's supporters. Burkina Faso's junta had stoked the anti-French rioting, saying that France had sheltered Damiba at a military base. France denied this. Traoré, now on a crash course in diplomacy, downplayed the link between Damiba and France and called an end to the protests. But about ties to Russia, he was vague.
Now, this young military officer, born in 1988, he seized power in Burkina Faso through a coup, becoming the world's youngest head of state. He promised to restore security and reclaim the nation's sovereignty. His rise was fueled by widespread dissatisfaction with the previous government's inability to curb the escalating jihadist insurgency that had plagued the country since 2015. Initially, Traoré pledged to adhere to a transition timetable agreed upon with ECOWAS, aiming to restore democratic rule by July 2024.
Vous savez, la situation sécuritaire, en tout cas, nous essayons d'évoluer sur les champs de bataille. Ça, c'est la première des choses, parce qu'il y a plusieurs facteurs qui rentrent en ligne de compte. Sur les champs de bataille, il y a de l'évolution. Si on prend de 2023 aujourd'hui, nous avons pu récupérer beaucoup de zones que nous avons pu pacifier. N'empêche que l'ennemi se renforce aussi. Il y a beaucoup de combattants étrangers qui rejoignent le rang des terroristes.
Est-ce que vous pouvez préciser, vous parlez de quoi?
Oui, les terroristes, ils sont renforcés par beaucoup de combattants étrangers qui viennent d'ailleurs, qui ne sont pas en fait, quand je prends le cas de Burkina, il y a beaucoup de criminels qui sont au Burkina mais qui ne sont pas burkinabés. Il y a aussi des formateurs qui viennent de beaucoup de pays pour les apprendre beaucoup de techniques. Mais ce n'est pas du terrorisme en fait, c'est de l'impérialisme. L'objectif pour eux, c'est de nous maintenir dans une guerre permanente, qu'on ne puisse pas se développer et continuer à piller nos richesses. Aujourd'hui, les terroristes utilisent des drones pour faire le combat et tout. Donc, ce sont des professionnels venus donc, de certains pays qui viennent les apprendre tout ça. Tout ça, c'est pour continuer à nous maintenir dans une situation d'insécurité. Mais nous prenons la mesure de la chose, nous nous adaptons à chaque fois à leur mode d'action et nous continuerons le combat jusqu'à récupérer l'entièreté du Sahel.
However, following Burkina Faso's withdrawal from ECOWAS, a new transition plan was announced, extending Traoré's rule until at least 2029, altering the nation's legal framework and further consolidating the junta's power. Traoré's administration has focused on economic autonomy, particularly in the mining sector. The state has nationalized several foreign-owned gold mines and established the State Mining Company, SOPA MIB. In April 2025, an industrial mining license was granted to Russia firm Nordgold, reflecting a shift towards partnership with non-Western entities. Under Traoré, Burkina Faso has distanced itself from traditional Western allies, notably France, and strengthened ties with Russia. In 2023, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger formed the Alliance of Sahel States, a mutual defense pact aimed at enhancing regional security cooperation among military-led governments. Traoré enjoys significant support among segments of the population, particularly the youths and Pan-Africanists, who view him as a symbol of resistance against foreign exploitation. However, his government has faced criticism for suppressing the dissatisfaction, including freezing the assets of political opponents and journalists, raising concerns about the erosion of civil liberties. This ongoing conflict has led to severe humanitarian crisis. Over 2 million people have been displaced, and access to basic services such as education, healthcare has been disrupted. Humanitarian organizations have reported the challenges in delivering aid due to security concerns and government restrictions. Now, this is where it gets even more interesting. Since assuming power, President Traoré has survived at least 19 assassination attempts, making him the most targeted leader in recent African history. Some plots have involved military officers and activists allegedly receiving support from foreign entities. Notably, in January 2024, a plan to bomb the presidential residence was foiled by intelligence services. These president threats underscore the volatile political climate and the challenges Traoré faces from both internal and external adversaries. Burkina Faso stands at a crossroads. The nation's future hinges on balancing security, governance, and human rights. As the world watches, it is imperative to amplify the voices of those affected. and advocate for the path that leads to lasting peace and prosperity. If this story touched you, please share it. Let the world hear our voices. It is very, very, very necessary that we share this story, that we tell the world what is going on, so that the people affected could get help. In any way, it could be your country, it could be my country. So please, if you are watching this video now and this story, whether it touched you or not, please just do the right thing by sharing it. Please. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And don't forget, this is Cheesy's Energy Uncovered. Until next time, bye.